Retirement accounts aren't the most exciting thing, but what they can do for your future actually is. In this video, I want to talk about the importance of you starting a 401k if you're able to. If you're not able to do a 401k, check out my other video talking about individual retirement accounts, that is an IRA. So let's touch on what a 401k is really quickly. A 401k is a company-sponsored retirement account. That means that they are in charge of basically creating the choices of what you can invest into. You can contribute a little over $18,000 each year into this account that'll grow over the lifetime of you working, right? 20, 30, 40 years, and hopefully you retire with a couple $1,000,000 bucks. But we'll jump into that and the rest of the details at my desk. But before we jump, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this with 2 of your friends. You know this is going to be a good one. Let's get into it.
And we're back in the studio, guys. We're talking about 401ks. I think this is super important in 2022, especially as we look at the market as it is today. So the goal of my channel is to give you no bullshit, straight up financial advice. I'm not one of those people who says, oh, this isn't financial advice. I'm literally trying to give financial advice. I think it's super important, especially for people in our generation, being a millennial, Gen Z, right? There wasn't a ton of information out there, just honest information on how to make a good living, you know, what are ways to be a leg up, be able to retire safely. So I'm going back to some of the first content that I shot on this channel, or really filmed on this channel, just talking about retirement accounts, right? There's a lot of cool, sexy stuff, you know, related to trading and crypto and all that. But I think this is like the simple, standard way to retire as a millionaire. So if you're excited to learn about 401ks, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and let's jump into it. So what is a 401k? Let's start with that. A 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement plan. That means that when you work at a company, your employer will basically work with usually another provider to create some system for you to retire. And that system is basically allowing you to invest into a bucket of stocks over time. And what they will do is they will often match your contributions. So what does that actually mean, right? They basically have this system, and it's to say, hey, I put $100 in, and your employer wants to incentivize that. They want all of their employees to be thinking of the future, thinking of their retirement, like their life after work, right? And basically don't, you know, spend 20 years working for nothing. So every time you put $100 in, they're going to say, hey, we're also going to put $100 in. So here's an example of that. I buy $100 worth of Walmart shares. My employer will then say, okay, we're going to buy another $100 worth of Walmart shares for you, right? So they are buying shares for you. And think of the value of a company like Walmart over 10, 20, 30, 40 years, right? You see how it starts to add up. So this is super duper important. You can actually hear my cat in the background now. So that's what a 401k is, right? There are different flavors of a 401k. The match isn't always the same, right? So let's talk about the different matching principles. It's not like your employer will just basically say, hey, we see that you're investing, you know, $50,000, so they're just going to invest $50,000 into your 401k. That is not how it works, right? Let's talk about the different matching systems. Very often, you know, companies will only match a certain percentage, or they might not match at all, right? And that's okay. You know, a 401k is still important. I'll talk about why you should do this. Like why should I even invest in a 401k and not just the market in general, right? We'll talk about that in a second. But if there is a match, it's often just a percentage of your total either annual salary, or there's some contribution limit, right? So they might say, okay, we'll match dollar for dollar up to $5,000, right? So if you invest $5,000 in your 401k, they will match up to $5,000 with you. So if I buy $5,000 at Walmart, they'll buy $5,000 at Walmart. Or they'll say we'll match up to a percentage of your salary, right? So let's say you make $100,000 a year and they have a 7% match. That means they will match up to $7,000 into your 401k, right? Why is it built like that? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. They're just trying to set some limit, right? That still incentivizes you to contribute to your 401k, to this retirement account, without basically having an unlimited amount of risk to themselves. Now, why should you invest in your 401k versus an individual brokerage account? If you don't know what that is, that's okay. That's just a regular, account that I might open on like Robinhood or Webull or any one of these apps, right? M1 Finance, all these different apps. You can just open a brokerage account and start buying and selling things. Well, a 401k is a tax advantaged investment account. That means that the contributions that you put into your 401k, right, as well as the match, are tax advantaged. That means that you do not have to pay the same taxes that you would as in a regular account, right? And one of the really powerful things that you can do with this tax advantage account is contribute pre-tax dollars, right? So this is actually called a Roth 401k. And by contributing pre-tax dollars, right, you can contribute more money up front. Now, there's a lot of math that could go into whether one way is better than the other. Should I contribute pre-tax dollars in a Roth or after-tax dollars in a regular account? Oh, damn, I actually got that backwards. Uh-oh. So I can't remember what part of the video this was, but so there's one of the special things you can do with a 401k is actually contribute either pre-tax or post-tax dollars. I'm probably gonna have to edit this because I actually got them backwards in my head. But with a pre-tax, right, that's a standard 401k. Basically, you get a paycheck. Say your paycheck is $100, right? Just to keep it a round number. Before they take taxes out of your paycheck, they'll contribute part of that to your retirement account, right? So you have more money to contribute versus contributing after tax. So let's say out of every $100 you get paid, they take out $30 of taxes, right? It means you have $70 left, and from that $70 you have to invest and live, pay rent, all of that, right? So there's math. The math can get pretty complicated deciding, should I invest in a Roth 401k versus a regular 401k. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. The math actually breaks down where if you make the same amount of money and the growth is the same over X amount of years, it would actually come out to the same. What really only matters is how much more money you plan to make. Honestly, to keep it very, very simple for you all in this video, do not try to over-optimize this, especially if you're in your early 20s. It does not matter, right? It does not matter if you invested $18,000, maxed it out every year in your 401k versus maxed it out every year in your Roth 401k for the first few years. Optimization of your finances is something you should worry about when you are hitting the max potential of either option, right? If you're only contributing $4,000, does not matter so much, guys. I'm telling you, life is going to come and go. You have to do early distributions, all of these different things. What's the most important thing is that you have money growing in this account and that you're getting the free 100% return on the match that your employer options. I think the biggest, or that your employer offers. The biggest thing I want you to take away from this video is the fact that your employer has a retirement plan, and every dollar that you put in that they match is a 100% return instantly, right? People often talk about, should I do this? Should I trade? I can sit here, look at the market, enter a trade, and if it's a really good day, I might make 100% on that trade, right? But in between that 100%er, I'm making 15%, 20%ers, 5%ers, right? If it's a scalp, right? All these big range. 401k match is a zero risk way to instantly get 100% on a position. I'll say that again. A 401k match is a zero risk way to get a 100% gain on a position, right? You buy something and get another one for free. It's a no-brainer. Do it. There are often vesting periods, right? So what is a vesting period? What is a vesting schedule? This is super important to keep in mind, right? So that means that for every dollar that your employer puts in, not your money you can do whatever you want with, it's your money. But for every dollar that your employer puts in, there's often a vesting period. And this vesting period basically says, hey, if you leave the company or whatever the conditions are, the conditions can be different. It's not always just leaving the company, but you actually don't have access to that. It's not fully yours until X amount of years, right? And that's just to incentivize you to stay at the company, right? So I can't go to a company, put $5,000 into my retirement account, in the first 30 days of working there, and then quit, go to another company, quit, then suddenly I've just made, $20,000 for free. It doesn't work like that. No, right? So I would have to stay there for a few years, and that's okay, right? Usually the vesting period is not too long. It doesn't take that long at all in order to get your money. So I have money, that's been vesting from previous employers. And the vesting schedules are all very different, guys. So there's no standard set way. There are some standards, but I'm not saying I'm going to go into them because the plans honestly are very different, right? Older, bigger companies often have, honestly, if you think about the perks of kind of like more established companies, often have better vesting plans and schedules and periods than some of the newer companies. Newer companies tend to be much more front-loaded on salary and things like that. Won't go into that in this video, but think about all of your options. And in particular, if you're just thinking long-term and how you should be diversifying your finances and what you can do to secure your financial future, having a fully funded 401k is very important. So how much can you actually contribute to your 401k? The government actually sets a number every single year that you can contribute. In 2022, that number is $20,500, as seen on this article right here on the screen. There are some limits to that, so I'll actually just read this paragraph. In 2022, the IRS allows workers to contribute up to $20,500 to an employer-sponsored 401k plan, up $1,000 from 2021 and 2022. Additionally, workers age 50 or older can contribute an additional amount known as a catch-up contribution of $6,500. Basically, if you're closer to retirement age, over that 50-year-old threshold, let you throw a little bit more in there, just so that you can buffer that account. Guys, this is super smart. In general, the government wants people to have money to spend, right? There's a lot of reasons for that. I'm not going to get into it. But basically, we need, M1, we need a supply of money to keep moving. We need consumer spending to stay up. And in order to do that, they've created these retirement accounts, right? So definitely fund a 401k. So how do you know how much to contribute, right? One of the simplest ways to do this is to use a retirement calculator. Now, the simplest thing to do would be like trying to max out as much of this as you can. My general policy for people that I talk to in real life, my age, thinking about the future and thinking about the economic environment that we're in, is realizing that it's not always easy to be so frugal. Frugality is fine if you're able to be super frugal. I am not the most frugal person myself, so I honestly can't tell people to just like, hey, live a super frugal lifestyle. I think it comes in periods. It's a roller coaster, right? You have to know what season you're in your life and what is going to work best for you. I cannot tell you exactly what to do, but in general, the best thing to do would be able to max out your 401k if you can, right? Contribute up to $20,000 annually. That's $20,000 you can't spend. Then there are penalties if you withdraw early. There's a 10% early withdrawal penalty. You have to keep that in mind, right? So you will be penalized for withdrawing this early. And that penalty is actually on the growth, right? So it is not on your initial contribution. It is on the growth. So if you made $100 in growth, you put $100 in, it went up by $100, the value went up by $100, you'd only be able to take out 90. There is a 10% penalty. I think there's actually other penalties too. Let me look that up. Right. So I was right. There is a penalty, but if you take it out, you also have to pay capital gains taxes. So you pay 10% plus taxes. It'll be a lot, right? So you'll be giving up a lot. But sometimes, hey, emergency comes up. You want to buy a house. You could be using that money for something good, right? If I'm stabilizing my costs over 30 years or buying it out for cash, and then I don't need as much retirement income, right? You have to do that math. It's never a silver bullet, regardless of what anybody says in the finance world. I think the really last important thing that I would say here in regard to a 401k, and I said it earlier, is keep it simple, guys. If you're not contributing to one, which is a lot of people, right? If you're not contributing to one, just contribute. One of the biggest mistakes I think people make when it comes to taking that first step forward in their financial future is trying to optimize every single dollar, right? If you're contributing $25, don't ask me, should I put it in this versus that, this versus that? If you're contributing $25 a week for 3 months, right? Do that. Whatever it is, you're going to be way better off doing that than not doing that, right? Once you've taken that first step, right? Once you've started to dabble, once you've invested your money, once you start contributing to your 401k, once you've started saving money, once you've created your retirement fund, once you've created your 3 months emergency fund, which is what I meant to say, then we could talk about optimizing those dollars. But if you don't have anything to optimize, it's a silly conversation to have. And for a lot of people, you're only doing that because they don't want to take that first step. So take the first step. I'm telling you, it's super duper important. Just get money in there. Once you have money in there, you'll be super excited to see it grow over time. It feels really good. The other thing that I should say in this video is, if you're someone who has a 401k for a while, like me, it's probably taken a hit recently, and that's okay, right? You should be doubling down on those investments, and this honestly should be a whole other video, or maybe I will film one, but we'll just put it as an appendix on this one. But now is a really, really good time to be contributing to a 401k, right? So if you've already maxed out your 401k for the year, definitely double down your dollars in an individual account. Do an IRA. I'll actually do a video on that, so I'm not going to dive too much into that now. But stocks are on sale. That's how you have to think about a recession. That's how you have to think about when the market crashes. Stocks are on sale. Any company that you think is going to be here in 10 years, now is the time to buy. It is on sale. So stop looking at that number in your account and freaking out. Stop worrying about the fact that it's down 10, 20%, whatever that is, and get that 10, 20% discount. Think of it as a discount on your future. You're not buying stocks to sell them tomorrow anyways, right? You're buying your future. You are buying your financial freedom. That's what you're doing, and you're getting a 10 to 20%, 30% discount on that, whatever it is, right? So do that. Be smart with your dollars. We're all just here for a little while, but we got to wait a long time to figure that out. So spend every day in the wisest way that you can possible. If you thought this was useful, please do hit the like button, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Subscribe to my channel. Share this. I highly appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 10K subs by the end of the month, and we're at 900 and something. I've actually lost a few subscribers. I don't know why y'all leaving. Really weird behavior. I had one new subscriber. Shout out to you. You know who you are in the past week. I appreciate you. If you have questions, you can send them to me here. If you don't want to put it in the comment section, shoot me a DM on Instagram. The link is down in the description of this video. My goal, my primary goal in life is helping people get ahead, whether it's mentally, financially, emotionally, physically, whatever. I think that, we're all here for a purpose, and that purpose is to live life to the fullest. But with that, I'll get off my pedestal. My name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. You should too. See you in the next one.